What if your apartment could breathe? Seriously, we're about to look at a pretty radical experiment in city living, a project that's trying to tackle one of our biggest challenges. How do we live in our cities without, destroying the planet? This is the story of a home that's also a living, breathing ecosystem.
And this, right here, was the vision from day one. It wasn't just about making a more efficient home. Nope, the idea was to build a totally self-contained, living habitat, a tiny ecosystem tucked away in the middle of a city. That is an incredibly ambitious idea.
And, there's a really serious reason for all this ambition. Our cities, well, they're basically giant consumption engines. Just look at this. By 2050, 70% of all people will be living in cities, and those cities are already responsible for the majority of resource use and CO2 emissions. So yeah, the way we're doing things now is fundamentally broken.
And a huge piece of that puzzle, a huge part of why things are so unsustainable, comes from our own homes. Think about it. They are just energy sinks and waste generators, always needing more from the grid and sending tons of waste out to landfills and sewers. So the team behind this Urban Biosphere set this wild, audacious goal. They asked, could we slash a person's ecological footprint by a factor of 5 and do it all inside a tiny 26 square meter Parisian apartment? I mean, that's a 500% improvement. Their answer was to completely reimagine what an apartment could even be. This isn't just about sticking some green gadgets in a room. It's a fully closed-loop system that's designed to work just like a living organism.
And here's the kicker. The secret isn't some impossibly complex, futuristic tech. It's actually the opposite. It's all about using clever, low-tech solutions that are inspired directly by nature's own super-efficient systems.
Okay, so how does this thing actually work? Let's dive in and take a look at the 3 critical, interconnected systems that make this apartment a real-life biosphere: water, waste, and food. All right, let's start with water because this is just brilliant. To get that massive reduction, the shower uses these special mist nozzles, inspired by NASA, no less, that atomize the water. This cuts the water needed for a shower from 60 liters all the way down to just 3. But here's where it gets really smart. That gray water doesn't just go down the drain. Nope, it gets filtered by natural bacteria in a biofilter, and then it's used to fertilize the indoor plants. It's a perfect, self-sustaining loop. Now, the next system runs on this key scientific idea called bioconversion. What's that? Well, it's basically using living things, in this case insects, to do the job of a massive industrial waste treatment plant, but, right inside your home. And this slide shows you exactly how it works. The quote-unquote living toilet separates the waste. Then the solids are fed to black soldier fly larvae. These little guys get to work, eat the waste, and reduce its volume by a factor of 5. And the final output? It's not sewage, it's valuable compost for the apartment's plants and protein-rich larvae that can be sent to partner farms. It's genius!
So the key takeaway here is this contrast. A normal home works on this linear, wasteful model. You take, you use, you throw away. The urban biosphere is totally circular. Every single output becomes an input for another part of the system. Absolutely nothing is wasted.
And that circularity leads us right into the third system, growing your own food. That recycled water and compost, it feeds more than 120 edible plants in a soilless system called bioponics. They even capture the humidity from the shower to grow oyster mushrooms. And for a sustainable protein source, yeah, there's a small cricket farm. Okay, so it's a beautiful concept, it sounds amazing, but did it actually work? Did they manage to hit that incredibly ambitious goal? Well, let's look at the proof, because the results were audited, and the data, it's pretty remarkable. Yes, they absolutely did it. A 5-fold reduction in the residents' carbon footprint compared to the average person living in Paris. A proven, staggering success. The water savings were, if anything, even crazier. On average, the resident used just 9 liters of water per day. For everything, drinking, cooking, cleaning, showering, 9 liters. That's it. And just to put that number into perspective, this chart shows the French national average is about 140 liters per person per day. The biosphere's resident used 9. That's a 15-fold reduction. It's an almost unbelievable level of efficiency, all done with simple, nature-inspired tech. But look, one amazing apartment isn't going to solve the whole urban crisis. So the real question becomes, how do you scale this? How do you turn a one-of-a-kind experiment into a real blueprint for our future cities?
The answer is to package the innovation. They've developed this modular, low-tech kit that can be installed in new buildings or even retrofitted into old ones. The plan is to sell this kit to developers and property managers with a subscription for maintenance. It's a scalable way for entire cities to start meeting their sustainability goals.
And this all brings us to the ultimate takeaway. This whole Urban Biosphere project challenges us to think completely differently. It really poses the question you see right here. Is the future of our cities not something we build, but something we grow? A future where our homes are actually living, breathing ecosystems.